Welcome to Simply Gourmet. My name's Richard Harris, and in my new series I'm going to be showing you how to take the fear out of entertaining and cook gourmet food at home. In this episode I'm cooking duck breast with pickled vegetables and miso aubergine, so some really interesting Japanese flavours. Japanese food doesn't need to be daunting. It's full of really exciting flavours and great textures. So the first thing I'm going to do is make a nice little pickling liquor for our vegetables. I've got some rice vinegar. That's just going to go into a pan. And don't worry about being too accurate in measuring this. Just you need enough rice vinegar to cover your vegetables, and then just a bit of caster sugar. A little pinch of salt. And we just want to cook that out just until the sugar dissolves. So while my vinegar's heating up, I'm going to prepare the vegetables. I've got some normal radishes here, and these are going to give a really nice crunch to the dish. And then also mooli, which is a kind of Japanese white radish. Really fresh and lovely texture. So first up, I need to peel the mooli. Some supermarkets do actually stock mooli, but if not, then Asian supermarkets, Japanese supermarkets will stock it as well. I'm just going to gather that up, put it in a bowl. So now we just need to prep our radishes. Cut these into quarters or into halves. The smaller you cut them, the quicker they're going to pickle. For a full list of ingredients, check out the description box. So now my radishes are prepped, I'm just going to chuck them in a bowl and cover them in vinegar. One of the most important things I want to get across in this series is taking the fear out of entertaining. A lot of friends of mine worry about entertaining because they're rushing around on the night, trying to throw things together. They spend all the time in the kitchen and they miss out on all the laughter, all the jokes and all the wine. One of the most important things for me is having all your prep done in advance. And then when it comes to cooking on the night, it's literally just finishing things and putting dishes together. With this radish, what we want to do is pickle this, and we can do this well in advance. So you could do it the morning before your meal or even the day before. Our vinegar's now ready, the sugar's melted, and we're just going to pour some over the radish. And as the vinegar's nice and hot, it's going to kind of cook them and soften them slightly and pickle them as well. For the mooli, I'm just going to add a little bit of the vinegar just to toss through, so it's more of a seasoning. We don't really want to cook this down because we want to retain its really nice crunch, and also it's shredded a lot more finely than the other radish. With our mooli, we just want to toss it through just so it all gets a nice coating in the vinegar. These radishes are going to take on all that vinegar, be nice and sharp but still crunchy, and it's that sharpness that we want to cut through the fattiness of the duck. So I'm just going to pop these aside and just leave them to sit. So now it's time to do the duck. And this has just come out the freezer. It's been in there for about 5 or 6 minutes, and that's just to firm the skin up. So when we go to score it, it's much easier to work with. So take your duck breast and take a sharp knife, and we want to just score the skin. Make sure you don't cut all the way through to the meat, otherwise the duck meat's actually going to dry out in the pan. So just score all the way across the breast, and then turn it around and score again so you get a little crisscross pattern on the duck. We're just going to season the duck breast, plenty of sea salt. We're going to press it into the fat as well, and that's going to help the fat render out and just make it go really nice and crisp. Nice hot frying pan, I'm just going to lay the duck breast in skin side down and get it really nice and crispy. So with the duck breast, we just want to leave them in the pan, don't do anything to them at all. Don't shake the pan or be tempted to move them around. If you shake the pan, you'll get air in between the skin and the pan, which will stop the duck breast from crisping up, and it'll basically just steam and sweat the skin. So we want to just leave them to do their thing. So our duck breast is cooking away nicely there. And just want to show you this. If you look at the colour that the vinegar has gone in the bowl, it's gone a really nice sort of deep reddy pink colour. And already these radishes are starting to take on that vinegar, but are nice and crunchy. So our duck breast is now nice and crispy. Just going to turn it over. You see the skin really nice and crisp, and this is what we're looking for. So now we've turned the duck breast. Just going to pop it in a hot oven, about 200 degrees, for around about 6 minutes. My frying pan's oven-proof, but if you don't have an oven-proof frying pan, just transfer the duck breast to a roasting tin and pop them in the oven. So our duck breasts are done. They've still got a nice little bit of give to them. I'm just going to transfer these to a board to rest. Resting meat's really important. When the meat's in the pan, it feels all tense. So what we want to do is let it relax, let all the proteins relax. So when we come to carve it, it's going to be nice and uniform and pink all the way through. What I've got here is some white miso paste. And this is basically just a white soybean paste. And you can buy it in most supermarkets. So to that, we're going to add some ginger. So I'm just going to peel the ginger and grate it in. So if you like this recipe and want to find out more, click the subscribe button. So just using a fine grater, I'm going to grate up our ginger and then add that to our miso. Give it a little stir, and then we want to add just enough warm water just to loosen it down so it's a nice kind of loose paste. And then just going to add a little bit of toasted sesame oil It's going to give the aubergines a really nice kind of nutty flavour. Okay, so that's our miso glaze done. I'm using baby aubergines. I just think they look quite dainty. If you can't get hold of baby aubergines, use a large one and just cut it into nice bite-sized chunks. I'm just going to slice these in half lengthways. Baby aubergines into a bowl, and then just spoon some of your miso glaze over the top. Get your hands in there and give them a good toss round. I'm going to put these into a roasting tin. I've just lined this with a bit of paper. I'm going to put them skin side down. And the paper is just going to stop them from sticking. Now if you want to be really super prepared, get them to this stage, keep these in the fridge in the roasting tin. So when it comes to making dinner, all you've got to do is take them out of the fridge and straight into the oven at 200 degrees for about 10 minutes. The last thing to make is what's known as a Ponzu sauce. And this is a really delicious dipping sauce. Really nice and zesty and zingy, goes perfectly with duck and other roasted meat. And it's just got 4 ingredients. So some soy sauce, I'm going to do a couple of tablespoons of this. Rice vinegar is a lot less harsh than something like white wine vinegar, so it works really nicely with this. It's quite a sweet and sour dressing. So again, same quantities, 2 tablespoons. A good pinch of sugar. And then finally, the most exciting ingredient. And this is something I really love, and if you can find it, it makes a world of difference. It's yuzu juice. If you can't find it, maybe just use a mixture of lime juice and grapefruit juice, or just lime juice. But what we want there is that nice sort of citrusy kick. And all we need to do is just give it a little stir gently until the sugar's dissolved. So our miso aubergines have come out of the oven, beautiful and golden and really soft all the way through. Now it's time to plate up. I'm just going to carve the duck. So I'm just going to trim off the edges, just because those can go a bit crispy and a bit tough in cooking. I'm just going to cut this into 2 long strips. I'm just going to get a little mound of mooli. So it's going to lay the duck across the top. A little spoonful of our pickled radish underneath. So lastly, just a bit of the ponzu sauce. Just going to drizzle a little bit over the duck. And just a couple of dots around the plate. So there we have it, my Japanese inspired roast duck breast with pickled vegetables and miso aubergine. So I hope you enjoyed cooking this and impressing your friends and family at home. And if you've enjoyed this one, then I hope to see you back again soon for another recipe in my Simply Gourmet series.